Okay. So we have Shannon here who won the open mic competition, and he's 27 years old. This son of a bitch is aged.
Yeah.
You know, and Johnny Hobbs who runs all that. You know, we were just sitting here talking. You know, when you first came up and said, "Do you remember me?" And you know, I get that, and I go, give me some help." And then when you mentioned Larry Silver and you said Shannon, I went, that clicked. But of course, the thing is that we forget how many years ago that was.
Yeah.
And you go, we were in our fucking 40s then.
Right.
We're now, 25 years. Neither one of us could look much like what we looked like back then. You know what I mean?
No.
As far as that goes.
I remember it like it was yesterday because you wrote your intro on the card, but you didn't write your name on the bottom. And then this drunk guy walked across, and I'm staring right at you, and I know who you are. You know, I know who your name is, but I just had that block. And the guy walked just enough time for me to do it, and then that's Les McCurdy and did it. And then afterwards, I told you that.
Yeah.
And that's what you said to me. She's Shannon. I don't care what you would have said.
Yeah.
I'd come up anyway.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
It's some bitch.
You don't care.
Come on up.
But it was very important to me.
Was that at that Mikado's?
Mikado's.
Yeah, Mikado's. Is that how you pronounced
I
it?
emceed there. Mikado's
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah, I remember.
We did that till Larry.
Did you ever
screwed it
work
up.
that?
I did.
You did.
That was one of the best little weekend gigs.
That was fun.
Well, the crowds were always good, and
it's at 160 capacity.
yeah, you did one show Friday, one show Saturday, right? And
Except
that was
when
it.
we had Larry the Cable Guy, and we did 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 160 people, all sold out.
Yeah,
everything was $10. He signed everything. He took pictures with everybody.
And that was back before he was anything like he is now.
9 months before Blue Collar.
Yeah,
we went to a country bar that had about 600 people in the bar, and after 15 minutes in there, everybody was circling him.
Yeah.
And I said, Dan, you're all done. And he says, I know. And 9 months later, Blue Collar hit.
Yeah, he was just
be a nicer guy.
Just starting to take off. He came back and played our club just
Dan,
this
he's
year.
The nicest guy.
Yes, he's a wonderful fellow.
Couldn't happen to a better guy.
And but yeah, that was one of those good little weekend rooms because you had that one and there was another one in Melbourne or Cocoa Beach.
Melbourne.
That was Melbourne.
Cocoa Beach is Gregory's.
That was Cocoa Beach.
Yeah, and I emceed those rooms, both of them.
Right.
While I was raising my daughter.
And that was Larry Silver.
Yeah.
Booked those and you know because down here in Florida, and I guess but especially down in Florida, you know you only had a few week-long, you know, clubs.
Right.
But most of your work down here was these
Friday,
little
Saturday.
crazy one-nighters and weekends and little weekend shows and stuff that were just crazy. Some of them were really good, like those had been there for, especially Mikado's were there for a long time.
Yeah.
I remember I got to the point where I was running the club here. Financially, I didn't need to do any of those rooms. I was at that point where I didn't need to do it anymore. But I still like to go and do my whole show as a headliner because I just host here. And so I was still going over there. And so I might have been the last time I went but I called Larry and I said, hey, listen, I know that I said, whatever you pay for the hotel room for me, I said, just throw it in my check, whatever. I don't give a shit, whatever it is. But I'm not staying in that hotel. I'm going to stay over on the beach.
Right.
You know, I think back then the nicest hotel was that old Holiday Inn that was over on the beach or something else, whatever. But whatever was the room over. And he just couldn't wrap his head around that.
Oh, no.
He was like, well, what's wrong with the hotel? I go, there's nothing wrong with the hotel.
Just not using it.
But I'm not using it because I'm at a point in my life where if I was coming over to Melbourne, I wouldn't stay in that hotel.
Right.
I'd stay in that hotel, the one over on the beach, you know, with a view of the water, you know, kind of a thing. Oh, I know it just bugged the shit out of him.
I don't know what hotel he was putting people up at.
I think it was
Larry. It was terrible.
No, it really wasn't a terrible hotel. It was over on the Intercoastal, and I think it was a Ramada Inn or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, for your typical that kind of gig hotel accommodations, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't fucked up.
Right.
No, some of them are really terrible.
Oh,
yeah. The guy was doing cocaine outside the air conditioner, the ones, those air conditioners, the window shakers.
Yes.
And I looked out my window and they're chopping lines on my unit. I'm going, oh crap! You have to wear paper bags on your feet. You don't even want your feet to touch the carpet.
Oh yeah. I mean,
it was nasty.
Nasty shit. Nasty.
Yeah. But my wife travels with me sometimes, and she won't stay in those hotels. She says you just have to get another one.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah. That was a big deal when you finally got to the point where you could say, I no, I won't stay in that piece of shit.
No.
So either get me something else or I'm just
sleeping in the car.
Well, no, I just go, I'm just going home.
Yeah.
I just got to the point where I go, I'm just going home.
Right.
And they're like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, I told Bull I was coming over here, and Bull said, come stay with him.
Yeah.
Over there, but he's all the way across the bridge and over that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm driving. I got a show tomorrow, so I was going to come right over. So I got the hotel at the Comfort Inn, right up there by 75.
Oh, okay.
And then I get up in the morning and have a nice little breakfast.
Well, this is a good time too. The rates are very good this time of year.
Oh yeah.
And you won,
but people
so it
don't
paid
understand.
for
You
it.
can stay an extra night.
That's exactly right. But people do not understand the love of comedy. Just like when I went up to the Punchline in Atlanta, the old Punchline.
The good one.
I went up there on a Wednesday for 10 minutes. I always forget the kid's name that set me up with it, but you'd know it as soon as I said it. But he set me up. I got 10 minutes, and it was the best 10 minutes of my life because you worked the Punchline. You know that.
Let me tell you
it's
something.
Beautiful.
I used to. That was one of the clubs I started in. Did you ever do that old Punchline in Atlanta?
Shoot.
I'm telling you, because back then when I first started touring, I'd been down here developing, but when I started tour, you can't keep a place. So my dad was still up in Chattanooga in the family home, and just him. So I just based out of there. You weren't home much. You were out most of the time. So the Atlanta Punchline, there wasn't a club in Chattanooga back then. Mm-hmm. And so Atlanta Punchline was kind of the club that was close. I used to tell people, I go, if you think you're going to be a professional comedian, I said, you go down and get yourself a set at the Punchline in Atlanta. I don't give a shit what night you go up.
Yeah.
If you don't do well there, fuck you. You ain't gonna make it. Those crowds were the best.
Room.
Oh, they
if
were the best
quit,
fucking crowds ever. They were just hot, great,
Les,
weren't they?
Do you remember the Walk of Fame, Walk of Shame?
Oh, from the green room, from the backstage all the way down.
Walk back to the bar.
Through the whole crowd.
They will reach out and touch you, put their hands out so you can touch their hands if they like you.
Yeah.
And if they don't like you, they fake like this and they cross their arms and they lean away from you. And it's just like a joke. But
I remember the first time, because Kenny and I started as a comedy team.
Yeah, Ken's sons.
But the first time I worked there as a single, as the host, I was the host, and I was green. I was, and it might have been one of my first gigs. And I can't remember the girl's name, but there was a young lady that was the manager. So before I went up, she come over and touched me. She goes, do 22. And I thought that was odd that she didn't say 20 or 25. Mm-hmm. She said 22. And so I did 25.
Right.
Because the crowds are hot. I'm up there going, who the fuck cares if I do a few more? I mean, I'm sitting there going, killing. Shannon. And I tell this to young comics. I said, you had to walk that, like you said, you had to walk that whole aisleway from the stage, the whole length of the room back to the back.
Yeah.
She met me half fucking way.
Right.
In a full room. Now, the other act was on stage. The focus was there. So she wasn't yelling at me or anything.
No.
But she was probably about 5 feet tall. And I'm not a big guy, but she's, she walked up to me. And I mean, she was right at my chest. And she looked up at me and she goes, how much time I asked you to do? I said, 22. She goes, how much did you do? I said, I went over a little bit. I probably did 25. She goes, can you do 22? I said, she goes, because if you can't, I got plenty of people that can do 22 tomorrow.
That's doing the work.
And I went,
that's training.
From now on, I said, I am very sorry, ma'am, and I will do 22. And I remember, and I thought after that, that's when it occurred to me later. I went, that's the reason she said 22.
Yeah.
She wanted to know if I'd hit my time.
Right.
Exactly.
She was testing you.
She was testing me to see if I would be a pro, because I'm a new guy. I'm the opener.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I am very expendable.
Yeah.
You know, but motherfucker, I did 22. I get 21 and a half.
Yeah, 21.58.
Yeah, you know who the comic was that got me my spot there? Dan Mangini.
I don't remember.
You don't know Dan?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Dan he's working cruise ships now.
Dan?
But he's one of those guys like when I see people do comedy, especially when I see
What year was that? Do you remember?
It was I got sober in 97, so it was about 2001.
Oh yeah, that was
2002.
way after. That was towards the end of the punchline.
Dan Mangini was the kind of guy that did his comedy just like Tommy Blaze that I worked with. It was very perfectly precise.
No.
Words were picked, everything. You see these nails? And he'd go like that, and they're acrylic. Guys don't care unless you're scratching your titties with them. And everything was all like this. Everything was precise every time.
Now
Very funny.
you've been producing comedy and booking and producing and finding those rooms now for years, right?
Yeah, before comedy.
And so you've got how many over there on the East Coast?
11.
11.
I got 6 that are American Legions. I just send the comics to them.
Okay.
And I do those really at cost. I pay the comics.
That's
and
awesome.
I don't make any money.
Now is that a one-nighter?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all one-nighters right now.
Okay.
But I'm going to do 4 shows. I'm gearing up to do 4 shows a year. Big shows, like with comics, the level of your rooms.
Okay.
Because we really have no McCurdy's on that side.
Right.
We have it down in Orlando, and we have it over down in
Lauderdale.
In Fort Pierce, the Comedy Zone.
Oh.
Has it, but they do it this frequently there.
Oh.
But we really do not have. Gregory's is not really big.
Right. Well, you don't have the population base. You know, a lot of people.
But we're getting it. We've got Vieira, and Palm Bay, where I live, the city of Palm Bay is the second largest city in the state of Florida in land area.
Well, you know, the thing is that people don't realize is that, you know, if you really look, and this is going over the 40 years, if you really look at how many people do you need in an area for a full-time, week-long, solid comedy club. And I would tell people, in your area, in your drawing area, you need a population base close to 500,000 for that to work.
Because they're not going to go to the shows every week.
No. And you
they
need...
go maybe once a month, maybe every other month.
If you look around the country at how many comedy clubs there are full week long and where they are and you'll find about 1 room per million people.
Yeah.
You'll rarely find more than that density, because that's just how big an area it takes to support.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of room. You know, there's been a few anomalies to that, but not many.
And it takes time. You have to do it consistently.
Oh yeah.
Over time to build your clientele.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, that's the way we did. I mean, we started from nothing.
Yeah.
You know, me and Pam had, I think when we started the club, we had $2,000 in the bank, maybe. We were waiting tables. I was touring a little bit, and we found an old Holiday Inn banquet room, you know, that kind of thing.
You become the staple in Florida.
But it took 10 years.
McCurdy's is the room that comics should aspire to. That's why I came over here. I wanted to work that room again.
Yeah.
I came over here the last time I was over here was with Frankie Paul.
Frankie Paul.
Yeah, he lives right next to me.
I love Frankie.
I started with Frankie.
Yeah.
Way back, and he stayed on the road.
Yeah, Frankie still works our club.
Yeah.
You know, he's
a
still
daughter
rock
to raise,
solid,
so I had to
man.
stop, but I love Frankie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love his Winnebago stories.
Oh, he's
Motherfucker
The
loves his
funniest thing
Winnebago.
about Frankie Paul is what he says between his punchlines.
Mm-hmm.
His little throw-offs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've worked with Frankie probably 500-600 times
Oh, yeah.
over the years.
Yeah. He's one of those solid guys, been around forever.
Yeah.
And lives where he wants to live, raised his family, you know,
Well,
made enough
his wife's
money
got
to
his back.
Yeah, made enough money to between him and his wife to create a nice quality life for themselves. You know, they managed their life well. You know, and they're comfortable, and you know, he spent his life being able to be a comedian.
He found that shoe that fits.
Yeah,
That's like I say with my wife now, because I had two before, but I was a drinker, but then I don't drink anymore. I quit drinking, and my wife doesn't drink, and we just get along. And once you have somebody, she doesn't care. I said, I'm going over to McCurdy's to do the show. Bye, see ya.
Oh, sure.
Never questions me. Knows without a doubt there's nothing to question.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
It is.
Oh, my God.
It is.
My wife is like that.
Yeah.
There's never a doubt in her mind. Well, my wiener doesn't work, so she's safe. So,
well, you know,
some
Pam
comedy is real.
Yeah, but Pam's like, she'll set up ways for me to get the fuck out.
Yeah, my wife too.
But
So she can watch her shows.
well, you know, it's you know, because you said it was your third.
Yeah,
Now, how long y'all been together?
since 2004.
Okay, so almost 20 years.
And we got the two kids, her two kids, and then my two kids. But they're our kids. They all call us mom and dad.
Yeah.
Without any instruction.
They all grown.
Oh yeah, and they're thick as thieves. They all love each other.
And you got any grandkids?
Oh, 7 of them.
Ah,
Yeah,
That's
and
the best.
my wife just loves it.
are they down here?
Yeah, Ocala, we got in Apopka, and then we've got the other ones live in Rockledge, and my daughter lives a rock's throw away from me.
That's awesome.
We have one that's down in Fort Lauderdale.
And Johnny just got married a few years ago,
Yep,
but
yep.
y'all were together for a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
well,
Long distance.
y'all about 5 or 6.
We just celebrated 4 years.
Number 4.
Number
Okay.
4, yeah,
Four.
yeah,
Four.
yeah.
4 years married.
4 years married.
But
Eight years together.
Gotcha.
Yep,
Gotcha.
yep,
Gotcha.
yep.
Gotcha. And of course, Pam and I are now 38.
Yeah,
38.
you just can't picture
together,
it
40.
not being together.
You know, I'll tell you something. I don't know if I've ever told this on this podcast. I have the weirdest reoccurring dream, and it's not the same exact dream, but it's the same theme. I've been having it for years, and Pam and I said, and the dream is that Pam and I, we're not married, but we're together.
Yeah.
And I'm very confident in the dream that we are a couple, that she loves me, you know, and that we're a couple. And we're at a big party or event with a lot of people. You're like, always at that. And at that event, and I lose sight of her, right? I don't know where she is. You know, and I'm not like freaking out or nothing out of that, but I
Right.
just lose sight of her. And I start to go look for her. And when I find her, she's standing there and she is talking to someone basically like George Clooney
Oh, nice.
or Brad Pitt or somebody like that who I can see is looking at Pam like they're going, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I look, I find her, and there she is, and I go, well, it was
a nice
good
run.
while it was a nice run. It was a nice run. I knew at some point in time that you know she'd come to her senses, and you know, and you know the George Clooney, she'd married George Clooney, and she goes, and I swear I still have that dream. I probably had it a week ago.
Yeah.
And Pam goes, isn't that the craziest fucking thing? We have been together for 40 fucking years. And I said, yeah, I know. And I still subconsciously think you shouldn't be with me. I'm like, why is she with me?
Yeah.
I'm undeserving. You know what I mean? It's like in the back of your head. And so I just crazy. Just
Sometimes
crazy.
the shoe just fits.
Well, hey
and
man,
it's a lot more than just looks. It's personality. It's getting along.
it's a lot more than looks. You can
Yeah.
put your ass on
I'm
that.
not saying you're not a good-looking man. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, well,
But I tell audiences a lot of times. I say, besides the shoe that fits, I said, all the sex, all the fooling around, all the hot stuff, all the going out.
I am
all
really
that.
good
The
in
important,
bed,
the important
though.
thing
Shannon,
is
I am good in bed.
Yeah, I know you are.
I know.
Not me anymore. But my wife's
got pills.
My wife's got
I
my
got
back.
fucking pills.
My pills won't work.
They won't work?
Venous insufficiency.
The
I gotta
fucking
wear- I
pills
gotta
don't
You
wear-
gotta stop getting the pills from the dollar
I gotta
store.
wear compression socks. It's
That's
the
the problem.
veins get too wide and the blood won't stay. It's
You
from-
got to
it's
get the
from-
pump.
It's from diabetes. Well, I didn't have enough time to talk about that because the
A
doctor.
buddy of
said
mine did that. He got the fucking pump.
He gets they want to do surgery, put a balloon in your
Yeah.
dick, pump it up. My wife make a balloon animal out of that. And then I had that little needle inject like a adrenaline.
Oh, I don't
to the
want to
heart.
do that shit.
Hell no.
No. I'm not. I'm just like a heroin addict for my dick.
I'll take the loss.
Yeah, you can't be so excited that putting a needle in your dick is you're gonna.
No.
Let's go.
No, I got to find another way.
No.
Oh,
but that's
man.
why I said through all of that. When I went to the doctor, that thing with checking for blood flow and everything. True story. And I told my wife. I came home and I told her. I said, "Honey, my dick's a goner." And she said, "I'd rather make love to you one time a year than with anybody else." And I said, "Well, good. That's going to be our schedule."
You still got a tongue.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you still got your you still can
Yeah.
you
Still
still
do
can
it,
get
man.
her off.
Well, that's what I'm
You know.
saying was that I was working on that bit where it's like a superhero.
Right.
You know, you lose one sense, you get another.
Right.
You know, but I got to think of something like a lizard or something for some bit. For
There
that.
was one of the contestants tonight did somewhere in their bit I think it was maybe the first guy up, but he did a thing about his sister transitioning
Yeah,
to a
that's the first
male and then transitioning back
Yeah,
to
transistor.
a female, and goes she tried being a white man and she couldn't cut it. She couldn't cut it. And I go, you know what? And what hit me right off the bat is, you know what she found out is, she could get more pussy as a woman than she ever could as a fucking white guy.
Yeah.
She's like, shit, I can't get laid. When I was a woman, I get laid all the fucking time.
Oh yeah, it's true. That's why I wasn't kidding. If dick don't work, my wife just go out of town. It don't matter.
Yeah.
But she's got my back, and that's what people don't realize is after all the smoke and whistles and everything are done, when I'm 65 years old, you got to have somebody that's got your back. And my wife's got my back. I have no doubts that she's got my back. I get sick one time. I get the flu, and I was dehydrated, and my blood pressure dropped to 70/40. I was in the ER. I was passing out. I thought I was dying. Literally, Les, I thought I was dying. And she said to me, she said, "Don't worry." I said, "I'm scared." She said, "Don't worry. I've got you." She said, "Now, before you pass out again, give me your wallet. I've got to pay the copay." And it's a true story. And I just knew right then and there I was going to marry her.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because that's just the way she thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can't second.
It's effortless.
Well, you know, and it's something that I preach with with comics and any friend or whatever. It's like I've met enough people, and we probably all have in your life, that have massive amounts of money.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to that part of their life, they're uber successful. They do whatever fuck they want, and they're just fucking miserable human beings.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable. Not. I mean, you know, nothing's enough. Nothing. You know, just can't keep a decent relationship. Blah 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 blah. And you know, it's that was something I saw early in my life. Early enough in my life to realize, well, that's not the fucking deal. If that happens along the way, well, good, bonus, you know. And I mean, some people out there just happen to be hardwired in a way that have a type of job that creates a lot of wealth. And it's just, Warren Buffett's even said, I saw a thing with Warren Buffett. He goes, 3 things that tell me someone's successful. He goes, never allow anyone to tell you what success is. Success to you is what success is to you. I just happen to do something that makes a lot of money. But if what you wanted was a double wide trailer on 5 acres of land in the middle of some rural county with a deck and a hot tub and a truck that was paid for and a wife and 4 kids, and you did it,
and you're happy,
and you can pay, and you're happy. He goes, you are just as successful as I am.
Right.
Yeah.
You did what, I mean, when it comes down to brass tacks, you know, and you know, so it really is. I like people that are grounded in that and realize it, because I've seen the other side of that. You know,
when it comes to comedy, that what we had tonight was what I consider to be successful, because I could hear the people laughing, and they roared.
Yeah.
I hit a nerve somewhere. They clapped.
Well, there was no doubt, you know,
and
that
because
you and I think the last guy up were the two that got the best responses from the audience. But without a doubt, you know, when we do these contests, you go, when it comes down to it, we could sit here and hash around. Maybe we thought that person was more clever. Maybe we thought, but we go, but you know who the contest winner has to be? Because the audience already knows it. Yeah. The one that made them laugh the hardest, because that's why the fuck they're here.
That's
you
what
know,
I love.
doesn't matter what they laughed at on that given night.
I don't care how you make them laugh. And when I book people, sometimes women will say, "Well, you don't book enough women." I said, if you're funny, I don't care if you're black, white, green, orange, yellow. If you're gay, you're straight, you're Republican, Democrat. I don't care. All I care about is that you make them laugh. Yep.
You know,
I don't care how you make them laugh.
I've told comics, I go, most of the time the club owner ain't watching your show.
No.
They don't give a fuck about watching your show. They've seen a million fucking shows.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about that. You know what? Or the manager, you know, if they might be sitting in the office doing work or whatever.
They're listening to the
They're
laughs.
Listening to that crowd,
yeah.
And they can tell if they're not hearing it. That's when they walk out into the fucking room.
Yeah.
I said, but they're just listening for that laughter, and if they're hearing the laughter that they expect to hear from a professional show, then they know everything's going fine, and they don't give two fucks what you're saying up there.
No.
They don't care.
It's like, I don't listen to what you're saying, because I don't want to hear your material, because it'll just bleeds into your head. I don't want to hear it. All I want to hear is I listen for tempo and cadence.
Right.
And you can always tell when people are finishing up. You can feel that uptick.
Sure.
When they go to that out the door thing.
I always like when people come to me, comics, and they've got a bit that's, you know, edgy and kind of divisive, and you know that, and they go, you know, and they want to, you know, they want to try it, you know, and I mean, you know, you want to be Louis C.K., you know, well, yeah, there's only a few of them,
Right.
you know, they're brilliant like that, but you go, and they go, you know, run it by me, and go, what do you think? And I go, it don't matter what I think, throw it up there and see what happens, and I go, it doesn't matter how much you love that bit, how much you think that is cool and enlightening, or whatever you think it is.
Yeah.
The audience will tell you.
Right.
They'll tell you, you'll do it. Try it 10 times. I mean, shit, try it. Work it out. You know, try it 10 times.
You always got to work
it out. Yeah,
try
it. You got to work it out. But I guarantee you, after about 10 times, you'll fucking know whether you're going to do it again. I don't give a shit how much you love
it. You got to do it at least 10 times.
Because if it sucks,
you got to tweak it. Because you got to tweak it to get all the words and everything.
There's that thing where they go, I think this bit's brilliant, and the audience just isn't buying into it.
Yeah, I've got open micers like that. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, don't give up on it. You know, work it.
Paula Poundstone was the one that told me that when I opened for her about 4 weeks in a row, and she was just one of the most brilliant writers I'd ever seen to this day. And but she said the same thing. She goes, if you think it's funny, it is.
Is it dear to you?
But it is. Yeah. But if the audience is not, if you're not getting the response, you just got to know you're not doing it well enough. You're just not delivering it right. You know. And you know, when in this open mic competition, you know, that's where I can, as we can sit there and watch these people and go, they have a well put together set, which was most everybody that was. I mean, they did. They had a good structure. and you go, I see where you're headed with it. You know, you got the right idea, you know.
I only saw the one guy went up there and he just stayed edgy the whole time. The whole show was just edgy. I forgot what he was talking about, but whatever it was, he wasn't getting laughs. He was getting edgy. And I was talking to the kid next to me. I forgot Alex White or whoever it was. The guy that had the tie. He was sitting next to me, and I said,
Mark. I think it was Mark.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, you write clean. You can always dirty up a clean act, but write as clean as you can, and write it for everybody. Write your stuff for everybody. You're gonna have little parts that are particular, but for the most part, you see that audience, and I pointed to them. You got young, you got old, you got all kinds of different people. So you can't be too specific with what you're saying at first till you get your own show. But people don't jump on board for stuff that's too edgy.
Well, but once again, I'll counter that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will if it's well done.
If it's well done.
If it's clever.
If it's well done.
Yeah.
Like I say, Louis C.K. is just a great example of someone who can pull that off.
Right.
Is probably the best at that's alive today, in my opinion. And you go, there was a good example. Ken Sons was telling me that he was reading on one of the social media things. Someone had just seen Louis C.K. and it was a comedian, and they said, who had been a comedian for a while. And he goes, most of us as comedians get on stage, and we work very hard to, in the first 5 minutes up there, to get the crowd to like us.
Yes.
To get the crowd to like us, to win them over, and then once we've done that, we just build on that.
Right.
She goes, Louis goes up there and digs a hole, and then
digs himself
digs himself out of it.
Yeah.
And amazes you that he dug himself out of it. And then once he does, and he's won you over when you thought you were going to hate him, and he's completely won you over and has you in the palm of his hand, he digs another hole,
Yeah.
you know? And that it's like the guts it takes to do that. It's pretty incredible.
I avoid that like the plague.
Well, of
myself.
course, who would do that?
Yeah, right.
You know?
I just don't. My whole set goes with just like a storyline of who, what, where, when, why.
Right.
Because I didn't even get into the part of being a guy with a girl's name, Shannon Hall.
Yeah. Well, I grew up Leslie McCurdy, too.
Well, see,
we have that name
point.
That's a girl or a boy name.
Now, do you agree with this? That I've talked to people about that. That I think the best comedy comes from pain. That it's the comics like Ellen DeGeneres being a closeted lesbian, just the funniest ones. Kevin Hart, little short, Mouse Shannon, guy with a girl's name, pimply little face.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Skinny little,
Chris Rock.
Guy that was, well,
you have to be funny.
The great story I have for that is that I used to do this thing that was like a podcast, let's just say, back before it was even podcast.
Yeah.
And what I did was
CD
is that
radio.
on Thursday night I had the headliner. After they finished their show, I came out and we prepared the audience for it before the show. That after the show was over with, stay seated. I'm going to come back on stage, do a few announcements, let the headliner go backstage and chill for a minute and get a drink or whatever, and then they're going to come back out, and we're going to do an interview with them and a little Q&A, because what I want you to see is that comics are not born this way. We're not just out of the womb. That we come from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And we do. There's not a cookie cutter thing, that is a comedian. So I had a brilliant comic who passed away several years ago, Brian Bradley. And
Love Brian.
A brilliant, you knew Brian.
Yeah.
Brilliant actor, brilliant comedian. I mean, just nicest guy. And for years, I didn't know Brian was gay. I knew Brian for years and didn't know he was gay. He doesn't come.
The hair on the back of your neck didn't go up?
Well, it doesn't. He doesn't talk.
He never pushed it.
He never talks about his outside
He's very
life.
Respectful.
Yeah, he doesn't talk about his outside life, and he doesn't come across. He doesn't. There's nothing about that telegraphs anything. And so,
shit,
although my
sure.
wife, when he told me, he was at my house one time and he mentioned something, and I went, "You're gay?" and Pam goes, "You didn't know Brian was gay?" I go, "No, I didn't know Brian was gay." He said, "Yeah, whatever."
Brian was always respectful.
But so he was doing that
Sharing
interview with
shares.
me. He's doing that interview, and I'd had for several weeks in a row, there'd been the common theme of what you just said.
Yeah.
Comedy comes from pain. It comes from that. Good comics are damaged goods. We become comics because there's something
mechanism.
self-defense mechanism, right? It's protective, you
At least
know.
with me.
And so I said that's been a common thing, and Brian goes, "Well, that's very true." And then he starts to tell his story, which, like Ellen DeGeneres, growing up gay in a time when you couldn't be gay.
No.
And he couldn't let anybody know he was gay.
No.
He couldn't let his family know. And he's isolated. And then he starts into alcohol and drug abuse at an early age. He's suicidal. All this horrible. And he finally got out of high school without killing himself, literally.
Right.
And when he got to college and got into a theater department,
Exactly.
it saved his life.
He got his expression.
Exactly right. He in a place of acceptance, right? Yeah. And so he was telling this whole story, which was wonderful. He just opened right up, and he's not the type to do that.
No.
And he did. I said, "Well, hey, yeah, absolutely." I said, "But I got to tell you, Brian," I said, "I came from." I said, my parents got divorced when I was 15, but it wasn't horrible. And I had a great family and I had great support. And I grew up in a wonderful community with a lot of good friends. And I had a great life growing up. And he goes, "Yeah, and you're not funny." And I'm going to tell you something. That crowd exploded laughing.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "You're not funny."
Because I told my wife that's the way comedy is. Comedy's like a magic trick. When they expect one thing and you pull it away, and that's what they expected him to compliment you or do something, and he pulled it away.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But it's different kinds of pain, and just like I always said, women comics. When you see a good-looking woman, I'll say you can either be good-looking or you can be funny. You can't be both. And
I don't know.
But I don't mean it that way because there's a joke behind it.
Oh, yeah.
The joke is like April Macy.
Yeah.
I said you just must be really fucked up in the head, because you can have mental. It doesn't have to be fat or anything.
Well, I love April. When you said April, and I love
hysterical.
April, of course. And April's a friend, and April's worked here. But the thing about it is, as that example, I watched a comedy documentary, and I can't remember, but it was all female comedians. And her through line all the way through was exactly that.
Yeah.
You can't be beautiful and be an effective comedian. That's very hard to do.
Yeah.
Because when you're beautiful, the rap was if you're beautiful on stage,
you're getting a pass.
The women are uncomfortable because you're beautiful. The men are not respecting you as a comedian because they're only looking at your beauty.
Right.
It's kind of like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I told April, I said, when April first came, the first year as a headliner, what really popped her was Howard Stern doing a thing on who's the hottest female comedian out there.
Yeah.
And he voted April. It was between April and Whitney Cummings.
Right.
They were the top two, and both stunningly attractive women. And so when April first played our club, she dressed up. She looked hot. Yeah. She wore the makeup, the long red hair, the whole deal. Boom. And was great. I mean, did great.
Yeah.
By the next year, she was toning it down. By the next year, no makeup, hair pulled back.
She wants you to appreciate her for what she's
saying.
But
I'm going, you know what? I could be wrong on this, but crowds weren't disliking you when you were pretty. I mean, and I go, I hate to see that you feel that you have to be something you're not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That you have to dumb yourself down in a sense.
Yes.
You're dumbing your looks down. That you have to dumb yourself down to be accepted by the audience. I don't think that's true. I think if you're funny and you're funny enough, you can go up there and be stunningly beautiful and talk about it.
Right.
I mean, like, hey,
Just make it
this is
funny.
what I didn't, I was lucky. I mean, I just gifted with some DNA that made me attractive.
I wasn't
what people
sitting there
would
with my mom going,
consider
"No, not
attractive.
him. He's ugly. Go with this guy."
But I just think that, and I also felt like there wasn't there's an abundance of all kinds of comedians out there, especially white dudes and black dudes that are just dudes.
Yeah.
And this, that, and the other. I go, attractive female comedians? How many of those are there? Now, there's more now because there's just so many more comedians. But back in the day,
I've always said women have
it was
have
like,
hard.
I remember when I was first getting started, you had Elaine Boozler, Rita Rudner. Joan Rivers was actually considered a very attractive female comedian. I mean, there was hardly any, what you would say would be attractive female. I go, shit, it's a hook. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's weird how they get that.
I just noticed
in their
that
hand.
sometimes the women get catty. They don't want an attractive woman up there. They're
I've seen it the other way around too. I've seen I've brought in male comedians who are very, very attractive, and I've seen the guys not like that at all.
That's that Matt Rife thing going on.
Because they're sitting there with their girlfriend, and she's all eyes on him, laughing, having a better time than they're sitting there because it's their own insecurity, and they're just sitting there going, she's having a better time with him than she's ever had with me.
Well, see, you don't have to worry about that with me.
Well, the thing about it is, you would go with anybody. You go, do you think your girlfriend's getting him?
Yeah, right.
No,
She ain't
she
living
ain't
with
getting
him.
Matt Rife.
Yeah.
You're fucking safe.
Yeah.
I think
You
try to explain to the kids these days, if they just wait life long enough, you just wait it out, everything finds itself. Everything settles.
And you know what? If
Just
your girlfriend
relax.
did leave you
Everything
for
passes.
Matt Rife,
Then she
How
wasn't
about-
the right one.
hey, how bummed out can you be at that? I had a comic buddy of mine, and years ago, and he started dating this girl who was, and he was a regular looking guy, great guy, regular looking guy. She was stunningly beautiful. She ended up on one of the soap operas for years.
Right.
I mean, drop dead fucking gorgeous. And for about a year or so, they were together, and and it was one of those where like, how the fuck did this happen? And he goes, I don't know. Well, I run into him, and this was back in the late '80s, and I was like, what happened to Teresa? He goes, well, it finally ended. Who she left him for? Don Johnson.
Okay.
And I go, you can't be bummed about that.
Right.
She left you for fucking Don Johnson.
Yeah,
You got to be kind of proud about that.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, she left me for Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
And if somebody's gonna leave you, that's the story you want.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
she didn't leave you for Urkel.
Hey man, congratulations, Shannon. It's
Thank
good
you
to
very
see
much.
you, buddy.
Good job,
Thank you
man.
very much.
Absolutely.
Hey, like I said, Les, this is the reason I came over here is to talk to you.
Hey, it's great. It's great. And hey,
Well, give us the prize money back.
Yeah.
open mic. Anybody out there that ever wants to do this, do it, man.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You gotta love it.
It's a fun sport, and boy, if you want a brain teaser, if you want something to keep your mind sharp, this is it. Cause man, I don't care how long you've done this. I don't care as long 30 years, 40 years. We're all still challenged by it. There's no like,
gotta-
I got it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it for the love of the game.
Absolutely.
Because it's such a small percentage that hit it big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.